Now, what's your name?
Jomar.
Jomar.
Yeah.
All right. Rod.
Right. Nice to meet you.
Hello and welcome to the Philippines, province life in a resort town. This was a trip a couple weeks ago to Moalboal in on the west coast of Cebu City. And a lot of the transportation down here, they've got a few taxis running through this area, but a lot of the transportation will be by tricycle, jeepney or bus once you get out on the main road. If you take a bus over, you will get off the main road, and then the resorts are off a ways from there. Short ride, relatively short ride, and you generally will take a tricycle in from there. Now there are a number of places that rent motorbikes if you want to rent a motorbike. Your foreign license at the present time. This resort here, very nice resort. I went in there, I looked at a couple of rooms. We'll do another video about that soon. Anyway, your foreign license should be good for 90 days in the Philippines. That is the present rules. And it used to be pretty easy to get a Philippine driver's license here, but a couple of years ago they tightened up the restrictions, making it more difficult, more requirements to get that. So be aware of that. Number of resorts. We are headed to the market. The public market, where they have fresh fruit and vegetables and meats, and we even found a little bit of pills and beer there. So we brought back, we had a refrigerator in our unit, and there wasn't really much of a place with the present situation. Just a few of the resorts open. Very few restaurants open, so we grabbed a few things in the market. We eat a lot of avocados, and avocados have a season, and there's a time when you can't find avocados. Avocados are now in season, and we were able to find some for, gosh, I forget, but much less expensive than they are in Cebu City. So we bought about a dozen of them, and when they get ripe, then we freeze some of that, so we always have some on hand, or usually have some on hand. And anyway, province life. Every place is a province in a province in the Philippines, but the term province generally means out of the big city. And there are thousands of expats, foreigners, living here in provinces, province life, out away from the big cities. And a lot of what you need and want are in these province towns. Really depends upon the area. Now you take a town like Moalboal, and it is a resort town, so it will be much different during the busy season than your average Filipino town, let's say on Bohol, someplace like Ubay or Tagbilaran City. Tagbilaran City would have, because of Panglao Island, they will have quite a few number of expats and foreign tourists coming into that town as well. But a town like this will have thousands of foreign tourists running around, renting bicycles, renting motorbikes, renting the tricycles to take them with a driver to take them around town between the two beaches. You've got you've got White Beach on the north just a bit, and you've got another beach where we stayed. Many resorts in both of those areas, and in fact between the areas. And as you're out on the road, you'll see signs: this resort down this road, another resort down this road. So you pretty much have your pick. Some places have a bit of a sandy beach, many places not so. And we're at the market. Where are we going?
Straight.
And I had given away. I had bought a 2 pair of swim trunks a couple of years ago, but they were extra large, I think, or they were large. I thought they would fit. Took them home, didn't try them on when I should have, and they were pretty tight. I could wear them, but anyway, came down here, bought a pair of swim trunks that would fit, and we picked up some. Couple bags of groceries in here. They've got a good sized market here, as many of the towns do. And you can get local produce and fish.
The dry one.
This is dried fish here. There are, and I think they dry them right here. Bantayan Island is a big place that makes dried fish and ships them around, ships them into Cebu City and other islands. I think even over onto Panay Island. Bantayan Island also is a big chicken and egg place, and they will ship eggs all over this central Visayas region.
How much?
Guy's got strong necks.
For all?
With that 25 kilos, about 50 pounds or so of sugar. And that's how work gets done here.
Hard head, strong neck.
They've got a mall or two, a Gaisano mall, and or two in town. They've got lots of resorts here, lots and lots of resorts. So you have those choices, and during the normal season, an average tourist season. Of course, tourist season, we have the high season, which is probably November to February or March, when it's cold in the northern hemispheres, the Christmas season. And you have the slower season, but there's still lots of tourists during the slower season. And prices will vary for resorts as things, when they get back to normal. The high season, of course, prices go up.
They have
But you can find a lot of what you need and want in a small town like this. You can get deliveries from online stores like Lazada or Shopee. Might take a week or two to get those types of products because with so many islands, a lot of that stuff, most of it comes by a ship or two, ferry. And this is the unit, the Tricycle we rode in. And bit of a rough ride, but fun. I always enjoy the ride. I sat up front where I could take the video. They run these usually 125, 150 motorbikes to pull these things along. Watch your head if you take a ride in one of these, because I can attest to the fact that it is easy. You hit some of these bumps to hit your head on that the metal railing there. Anyway, as far as negotiating prices, occasionally I'll do a little bit of that, but I think the people here all gave us, compared to Cebu City, the prices were very reasonable. So we didn't feel any need to try to negotiate those prices. A lot of times, like the tricycle driver, I said, well, how much? And he said, it's up to you. And a lot of times you'll hear that from hobble drivers, the motorbike drivers. It's up to you, sir. Some will, if you're a foreigner, they will quote you a high price. I've found that about half the time they give me a very fair price, and then I give them a tip up above that. Just the fact that they were very fair, giving me the Filipino price. What do you gain by living in the province? I know many subscribers and expats tell me they don't want anything to do with the big city. They get out in the province. They can have a house, rent a house. If their wife, they can buy a house, and they can have a garden. They can have some freedom. do as they want with their land, their garden. And you get to know the people, you get to know your neighbors probably more likely. They do have a medical center. I read a couple years ago some operation was going to set up a more Western type, more modern medical center here to cater to the tourists down here. I'm not sure what stage that is at, so that is good news. I'm guessing that the hospital, like so many of the rural hospitals, not only here but in America and many countries in the world, the rural hospitals, you can't equip every hospital with the best doctors and the best equipment. It's just not possible financially. And I know my sister was a nurse back in the USA, and many of the people, she worked in a town of about 3,000 or 4,000 people, had decent hospital, several medical clinics, several doctors, but something real serious, you send them off to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, or Mankato, Minnesota, or Minneapolis, Minnesota, depending upon how serious it was. Same thing here. It's about a 2.5, 3-hour ride back to Cebu City. So if you need to go that way and it's an emergency, that can be critical. If you need something, they've got hardware stores. They've got a number of different things you can get in a small town like this. Your cost of living will probably be less. Your land, your rent, your houses are generally less. Your food can be less in many cases, depending upon the transportation cost to get a particular item there. But generally, you'll find your cost of living to be less. Pace of life to be much more relaxed. And there are some towns, each town has its own personality. Some areas, and even languages. You got Cebuanos here, you get over where Iloilo is, you got Ilonggos, I believe is the proper term. And different language. There are many people who speak and can hold conversations in English. I found that in places where there are fewer foreigners, that the local language, like Cebuano, are used much more, and people might understand English, but they're not comfortable speaking and answering in English. But usually a town like Moalboal, with enough foreigners from all over the world, they pick up a pretty good ability to communicate. Now, we were there during a somewhat restricted travel time when they were asking many people to stay home because of numbers, cases. Anyway, they had the number of checkpoints out on the highways, and here they were only checking a few people apparently. And we didn't. We were slowed down a couple times. They just waved us on, pretty much. We did have to get pay 20 pesos a piece, about 40 U.S. cents. When we came into town, there was a sign telling you where to go. It's right off the main road. And pay an environmental fee, gives you a sticker, and you have to show that when you check into your hotel, your resort, so that they're aware, everybody's aware. And you carry that with you as you travel because you may be asked to show that, the fact that you paid that. Now, as far as living in the province, in the smaller towns, I could live almost and adapt almost any place, but I do like the convenience of a bigger city. I don't think I would care for Manila. That's too big, just like I lived in LA for a couple of years. Just so big, so many issues with traffic and such. Of course, you got traffic in almost any town in the world, probably. But the smaller towns have some advantages. I think for many of us, the medical would be, a lot of people want to be closer to the bigger, better hospitals and doctors. Many people I know that live in the provinces, once a month or even twice a month, they make a trip to the bigger city nearby, Cebu City or Iloilo or Bacolod, to get the things that they cannot find locally. And it's nice to make that trip. It's part of what you put in your budget, of course. So anyway, it's, it depends on a person's budget, depends upon what they want. We're all different. We have different dreams, different budgets, different requirements, and go from there. Of course, if you have a girlfriend, wife, a lot of times they have their preferences as well. They want to live closer to the family. They work in a particular place. Their friends are in a particular place. They might want to be in that area. And what I've found over the years, many of the people living, expats living in the Philippines or any other country, they live in the area that they live in because that's where their girlfriend and or wife lives. I stayed here a number of years ago, Chorus, very small little resort. I had a room right on the ocean. About 1,000 pesos, I think, back then. Anyway, thanks for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you next time.